And we are back, and we just finished watching 2023's Polite Society. It's rated PG-13 with a runtime of 1 hour and 44 minutes. This is tagged as action comedy, and I think that absolutely is correct. This is from writer-director Nida Manzoor. I'm sorry if I pronounced that incorrectly. And this tells the story of two sisters, Ria and Lena. Ria is our main character, and she comes from a traditional family, and yet her big ambition in life is to be a stunt woman, Ria Khan. And her sister, Lena, is a art school dropout, I guess.
Yeah.
Who feels, I guess she's going through like imposter syndrome, where she just feels like she just can't hack it.
Yeah, that's probably a good description of what she feels like. She's just like, doesn't believe in her own talent and is just sort of wallowing.
Yeah. So she drops out of art school and comes back home.
Helps her sister with her little action videos.
Stunt video YouTube channel. Kind of interesting. When we were watching this, I thought about Frozen a lot. Again, sisters.
Frozen?
Yeah, sisters. It wasn't even about like the love interests, right? It was more about this sisterly bond. And I think in this case, the fact that Lena was Ria's biggest cheerleader, and at the same time, Ria was Lena's biggest cheerleader, right? Yeah. I don't even think that obviously their parents loved them, but I don't even feel like, I think they were so in sync and they got each other, and like the love that those two sisters had for each other was like the tops.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah, they were very close.
So
to the point where Lena, the younger one, right?
No, Ria's the younger one.
Ria was just psychotic
when she realized
that Lena was actually
going
enjoying
down the traditional path.
Enjoying the fact that she was dating this person that was arranged for her to date.
Yes, who was, again, a trope, a young doctor. Oh, no, geneticist, right?
Geneticist who works who's like a pediatric geneticist or whatever. He helps babies in impoverished areas.
Yes.
He's just like the perfect guy.
Yeah. Handsome,
charming, disturbingly
well-groomed.
I would say disturbingly in the mama's boy sort of camp.
Yes. That to the point where it was really creepy.
Who was the mother? She was great.
She's awesome. We always see her, and she's always playing almost a heavy, you know?
Yeah, well, she has that. I mean, her eyes and her mouth, they just like there's like a sinisterness to them. But like she's smiling. Like when she smiles, it looks like there's something going on behind her eyes. She's good at that.
Her name is
sinister.
Nimra Bucha, and she's been in a couple of things. She was in Miss Marvel.
She was in Miss Marvel.
Yeah, I've seen her in something else recently. I can't remember. Nimra Bucha, I think is her name.
Oh, was she in Renfield? Was she in Renfield?
Yes, she was she was Ben Schwartz's mom. I was like, how the hell are those two related? They don't even look like he does not look like he came out of her womb at all. There is something sinister about her, and we weren't off the mark, huh?
No,
because the story takes quite an interesting turn by the end.
It goes like originally when I'm watching it, I'm thinking, it's just sort of like this coming of age story about this young girl whose dream is to be a stunt woman, which is very strange because you don't think of like a young girl in a traditional Pakistani home aspiring to that. And
it's usually like in other films, get married,
or even in any film when like the young kid is sort of rebellious. It's never like I want to be a stunt man or I want to be a stunt woman. Nobody says that's why the trailer. When I saw the trailer, I was like, "Oh, that's interesting." Yeah, because I remember I wrote like a story like a long time ago about like a guy who wanted to be a stunt man.
Oh wow!
And I mean, nothing came of that, but I was like, "That's an interesting sort of profession," and it's just crazy. It's like, okay. Yeah. I'm going to hop on this motorcycle
and hurt myself.
And I'm going to set myself on fire and jump through a brick wall and
for your entertainment.
And that's exactly what I'm going to do. And this is something that she aspires to this, and I was like, that's pretty damn cool. Usually it's just I want to be in a rock band.
Yeah.
Something like that, which is cool too, but
sure,
it's not setting yourself on fire and jumping through a brick wall.
No.
So I mean, and so that I thought, oh, this would be a very interesting sort of coming of age, funny story. But it just goes so off the rails.
The end,
to the point where I didn't know if things were really happening.
Yes.
I mean, they never said that they didn't, but there are some scenes where like people are going through doors
and we're
in the house.
Yeah.
Like her and
I feel like if you and I heard our daughters fighting like that, we would have run upstairs.
Yeah. I mean, people's faces are going into picture frames. There's broken glass.
There's blood. Not
like gratuitous. Nobody's like geysering blood out of arteries or anything. Yeah, this isn't the Rambo or the Raid or anything like that. They do okay. Yeah. Don't expect a Raid level of violence.
No.
It was excessive to the point where I was like, well, this has to be some sort of fantasy in her head. They never say it's a fantasy in her head. I mean, the next scene, she's not bleeding or anything.
Yeah, there's not a mark on her.
But that sort of confused me a bit.
Yeah. There's also like the fight with Kovacs.
The fight with Kovacs in the school.
In the school where she goes through that glass.
She goes into a glass trophy cabinet.
Yeah. And I'm like,
and that one I thought was ridiculous because during the fight, you look in the background and you see like the librarian just sleeping on her desk. and the principal or whatever. Yeah. There's like broken glass and furniture all over the place, and she's just like, "Come into my office."
Yeah.
No real repercussions or anything like that.
I'm glad you brought up the scene with the fight with the sister. You know when I was watching that scene, I was like, Lena's actually a better fighter than Ria. She always had the upper hand on Ria in that fight.
Yeah.
I was like, maybe she should have been the stunt woman.
Maybe. Yeah, Ria was Lena was tough.
Yeah, Lena had the upper hand on Ria.
I think maybe because Ria was spending too much time practicing that super cyclone kick or whatever the hell.
Well, she got it. Finally.
Yeah. That part, it really went off the rails as far as that goes. Not in a bad way, but it's like you kind of expect a certain level of, I guess, ridiculousness or over the topness. You expect that to sort of be set at the beginning. And this sort of, it would like
fluctuate.
It would fluctuate. Exactly. You'd be in normal coming of age comedy. You'd go into sort of like weird, we're going to figure out this and we're going to do things that aren't like kind of beyond the realm of possibilities. Yeah. Like you're in Goonies level sort of hijinks. And then suddenly you're in like Three Stooges madness where people are smashing their head through glass and stuff like that.
Well, also, I mean, the story itself takes a dark turn when you find out the secret of the groom-to-be.
Yeah.
That.
Yeah, that gets a little sinister and like very dark.
That really threw me for a loop. I was like, I mean, overall, I enjoyed the whole thing. I liked the tone. I liked the silliness of it. I thought the two lead actresses were great. I thought the future mother-in-law was fantastic as always, as sort of the heavy. Mm-hmm. It was beautifully shot. The costuming was great. I mean, the script is decent. It's tight. It flows well. But when they get to the reveal of what happens, and you sort of get a little glimpse of it through Lena's point of view, kind of in the middle of the film, where I guess she thinks that she's having a dream, but it's actually like a memory. Yeah. And then when you find out what's going on, I'm like, whoa. Yeah. Listen. I mean, it wasn't crazy like Men in Chicken crazy, but when we were watching it, I was like, yeah, that took a dark turn.
Yeah. Like
for a comedy.
There's some tonal issues with this movie. It felt like, I'm going to say like some of the way it was filmed, it looked a bit very low budget. It was, I think I told you this, it reminded me of like Doctor Who when it first came back.
Yes.
Like that sort of like filming style. And also in the fact that like Doctor Who, you'll have like the serious toned episode and then you'll have the goofy episode and whatnot. And this felt like
a mashup.
It felt like that. It felt like this person liked that sort of jumping around that Doctor Who does, but put it all in one film. And in one film, you kind of got to pick a lane and just go with it.
It still didn't deter it for me. I was just a little taken aback by the reveal of what the ultimate end game was from the groom and future mother-in-law's point of view, but I still thought it worked. I thought the chemistry and the acting from the two sisters was fantastic. I completely believe their relationship. I loved it. I loved their relationship. I loved it, even when they were fighting, and it felt very real and it felt very rooted in like the human experience, and definitely things that sisters would say to each other in times of strife and in times of non-strife. When they loved each other, they loved each other. There was no question about it. And when they were fighting, it was sometimes hard to watch, but it still felt like it came from somewhere.
I think
somewhere real.
The film definitely relies on that strength of the two sisters.
Yeah.
But like all the relationships between the characters, I thought were entertaining.
Yes.
Like her and her goofy friends.
Yes, her goofy friends.
Her friends
squad.
were her friend, like especially the white girl. She was like
nuts.
She was completely nuts. The boyfriend was
Her name was Alba? I thought it was like Kate. Clara was the other friend. It's interesting.
The boyfriend was charming, but also kind of disturbing in his relationship with his mom.
Mother,
he definitely was being pampered like a little boy.
Yeah.
Like watching TV with his mom with his head on her lap and things like that.
I mean, it felt almost incestuous.
I never got that. I could see how you could feel that, but to me, it really felt more like that's the sort of behavior that you'd see a mom having with her like 7 or 8 year old son. Just head on the lap sort of thing. Like that. I never got the impression that she was like awing her son like, oh yeah, he's a sexy boy. But then again, you're dealing with this evil woman who, seriously, she looks like she'll eat you. She's awing everybody.
Yeah. Well, when she has that time with Ria during the pampering session and the diabolical
And you know what was funny? That was like a little bit of a flaw in the plot, because honestly, she could have just
ended her right there.
No. If she wanted to keep everything secret, she should have just after the massages were done, just it was lovely spending some time with you. Goodbye. But no, then it became...
She revealed her evil plan.
She revealed her evil plan. Yeah, she went total full-on supervillain and revealed everything and the waxing torture, and then it results into a little martial arts brawl, and the mother is apparently just like unstoppable.
Yeah.
Like she, for an older woman, she's just beating up Ria, who's spending her entire life becoming this stunt woman. She could have gotten away with it if she'd just been like, oh, I accept your apology, Ria, and that's the end of the story.
If you could change something, what would it be? That?
No, I would have just picked a lane as far as the tone goes. Like if you want to go off the walls, crazy sort of like, this is the sort of family where being thrown through a door is normal, then carry that throughout the whole thing. Yeah. If you want to do some sort of quirky coming of age story where this girl doesn't want the traditional life and wants to be this amazing, the world's greatest stunt woman, do that. That would have been interesting as well. If you want some sort of bizarre sci-fi sort of story, enjoy other aspects of it, go that route. But this, it was a little bit too hodgepodge.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, it didn't, I agree with you, but it didn't bother me, I think, as much as it did you. I think, again, I was kind of thrown for a loop when the reveal happens, but it didn't take away from my enjoyment of the film. It was over the top silly. It is definitely a comedy. It is kind of action-y. Not really, but I mean, it's tagged as action comedy, but I think it's more of a comedy than anything else.
There are like fight scenes and chase scenes and like the little spy craft that they do when they go into the gym to get the guy's laptop.
Yeah.
That was all entertaining stuff.
Yes. But still not like, I wouldn't consider it like an action piece.
This isn't The Raid. This isn't
or Fast and Furious.
Or Fast and Furious or anything.
Yeah, it's not anything like that. I think it's more of a comedy. I think it's set up with the backdrop of traditions and culture and what the expectations are of these two young Pakistani, I guess, British women living in this society, in this polite society.
Yeah, I would go with that.
Okay. 1 to 10, what would you give this?
I'd probably give this a 6.
6. Okay, fair enough. I would give this a 7. I really enjoyed it. I think I definitely enjoyed it more than you. I thought the script was really good. I liked the little kind of title sequences and over the topness of it. I laughed a few times throughout. Again, I really loved the chemistry between the two sisters. It was very believable, and I just loved that Ria really was her sister's biggest cheerleader, and vice versa. Lena was Ria's biggest cheerleader, and they weren't really looking for that Prince Charming. They were just two girls living their lives.
Yeah.
And I thought that was great. And it wasn't like this expectation of like some man's going to come and save me and give me all the answers. Although you kind of think that Lena's going to fall into that trap.
Yeah. Yeah. That's pretty much all I got to say.
All right. So I guess we'll wrap it up. Again, this is streaming on Peacock. I don't know that it's still in theaters. According to IMDb, you can find it on Peacock or to buy rent on Prime Video.
As of this recording, who knows where it'll be. As of this recording,
yes. Who knows where it'll be in a couple of weeks or so. But I think as far as comedy, women, diversity, I think this is a good story.
Yeah, it's fun. It's very silly.
It's very silly.
Don't go in taking this film seriously at all. It's a silly movie. It's got some fighting in it. It's got some weird plot twists, but just roll with it and you'll enjoy yourself.
I think it's also very light summer fare, but I found it incredibly entertaining. And again, it's nice to get that diversity perspective. I don't think that, kind of like what you said, there isn't a plethora of stories of young Pakistani descent women who want to be stunt people.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just on that alone, I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, it was nice seeing something new. It was like I said, there's lots of stories where there's a kid in a traditional household and they're expected of one thing, but they want to go their own way, usually in some sort of artistic direction. But like I said, it's usually like, oh, I want to join a band or become an artist or
not stunt lady,
not be the world's greatest stunt woman. That I looked at and I was like, that is cool. Yeah. I want to see this. I want to see this girl's story.
Yeah, yeah, and to me it worked. I thought it was really good. There are stories that are told a little bit more strongly, but I think for what this is, it worked well.
Yeah.
All right, and that's it from us, and we will bid you all a
good night.
Good night.